Should we go that way? Better. Oh no, it's worse. Is
that better?
Yeah, also probably that way a bit.
That way.
Get more you in. Keep going. Yeah.
Now what? It needs to be lower, right? It needs to be lower.
Oh, you need to go back up now. Whoa. Yeah, that'll do.
Oh yeah, that's fine. It's decent. Ben Thompson.
My boy Ricky's on.
Ricky, looked like you had a good time yesterday, Ricky.
Don't know.
So Ricky now has experienced drinking with James, so he knows what it's all about. We've got 4 hours 46 on the live stream. Thank you everybody for jumping on the live stream. So we're going to start recording the regular podcast as we always do. Good as it is. I don't even know where the mic is on this, James. So we'll try and get better audio for you now than we had on the live stream earlier. And let's have a look. Recording. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet FPL, the show where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Suj.
My name is James.
Season 3, episode 23. And in the grand total and life scheme of things, probably like 350 episodes in of stuff.
You counting?
Stuff, roughly.
Even they ain't counting.
There's a way you can pull out an export out of the software that shows you every single bit of audio, and it's something like that. It's a lot. First time watching live ever for GLH 1977. Nice.
Clarify for the audio guys. We're live streaming this on YouTube at the same time because Manchild's on holiday.
He has gone to New York. I think we spoke about it. He's trying to get himself a gig on Josh and Brandon's show. He's trying to hunt them down in Brooklyn.
Them boys got standards.
They do.
They've never invited us.
They do. And Manchild will probably turn up, see Brandon's beard, and be emasculated straight away, and just leave, turn around and walk out the room straight away because Manchild's little bum fluff isn't doing.
He held his own Friday night. In fairness,
he did. He had a good time.
As did we. Massive shout out to Tom and Nick who got the assist, and Will from Hub for the hosting event in Marylebone Friday night, which I think a lot of you will have seen various pictures going around Twitter. I'm not even going to mention any names that were there. Essentially, everyone. Yeah. And as soon as I start saying names, I'm going to forget
someone, and then you're going to end up in trouble.
But I do want to shout out Mars, our mate from the Amigos.
Yes.
I didn't know there was anybody on this planet who was shorter than me.
Yeah.
He's sizably shorter than me.
I think that was your. It
was the highlight
of your evening. Yes. But yeah, really good to meet Marty and so many others as well that came down. So. I recommend next time there's a meetup, get yourself down there because it's just a good night. Always is. Vibes always good. Atmosphere's always good.
Well, on that, fixtures due Friday for February.
Yes.
And hopefully something for that split weekend.
We might
come out for
get
us.
A live show.
Yes. That's the plan, hopefully.
We're desperate to do another FPL Live, Planet FPL Live. Even if it's in Manchester, Birmingham, London, wherever it may be. Just want to get it done. And we can't because of these stupid fixtures.
Do you know what? Worst case, we're doing it in London in February.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The way my lot are playing, I don't even mind missing a fucking home game just to come and do a Planet FPL Live, honestly. Like, take the day that we're playing Leicester on the 28th, for example. 5:30, freezing cold. It's going to be snowing. So I would just watch it in the pub and get pissed with all our FPL playing friends. But it's not going to happen now. So
you can come watch Norwich and Spurs in the pub with me if you want at the same time.
We'll see. I haven't missed a league game yet, so there we go.
How was your game week?
Reasonable, I think, is the answer to the question.
What does that mean?
It means I've got 62 points, which is okay. I think it's only enough to keep me where I was. I was 1.1 million. I'm at 980k or something. So after the Crystal Palace Brighton game tonight, for clarity, we're recording before that. I may see a green or red arrow, but it'll be like tens of thousands, whichever way it goes. So I'm not too worried. I mean, Wilf Zaha and Guaita are probably the two that could really hurt me. Maybe Martin Kelly as well if he comes in off the bench.
I think he's starting for a lot of people.
Sorry,
starting for me anyway.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, you had the foresight to drop Robertson. Mad. Mad.
No, I got the news that he wasn't starting.
Oh, okay.
And you know what? I did want to call you.
Yeah.
But I didn't because I was deliberating whether to take a -4 or not. And there was nothing that I could find a value with as like a 1 week punt because I knew that by the end of the day's games I might have been wildcarding, which I haven't. And won't.
Yeah.
So I was looking at it as a 1 week punt. And the one I nearly did was Grealish. That'd have been a good -4 with a missed penalty, wouldn't it? There was literally every other player that I would have considered for a hit for basically didn't return.
No.
So quite pleased with the way it worked out. It's meant I've started Jordan Ayew. I've got 3 Palace to go tonight. Kelly, Zaha, Jordan Ayew. I'm on 57 points. I've dropped 3,000.
So thereabouts.
I must have a levelling out of a small green arrow by the end of this game week, surely.
As it stands right now, I'm assuming you're going to pick up a minimum of 6 points today and maybe even 12 or 15. But the gap between us is the smallest it's been forever. 17 points right now. 2 weeks ago, it was 59. It goes to show how quickly things swing in this game. So, yeah, I had obviously Lundstrom did what Lundstrom does. I captained Vardy, so that was painful in so many ways, being a Maddison owner as well. When his goal was given as his own goal, because that was a good swing of 10 points, give or take, if you think about bonus points. And then Kevin De Bruyne turned my mediocre game week into an all right game week in the end.
I think for a lot of people.
Yes, exactly. So, look, you know what? You can't always be green arrow. It's just keeping pace with what's going on with the top 10K in terms of that average was good enough for me for this week. Considering I only made the one transfer, which was Edison out for Heaton to give me some more funds to make my 2 free transfers for this week.
Okay, cool. Do you know what you want to do?
I want to get rid of Lys Mousset. I want to get rid of Christian Pulisic, and I want to get rid of Andrei Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko is the one that's been annoying me the most, but actually of the 3, he's the 3rd on the order of importance to get rid of because he's on the bench at the moment. So,
okay, I've already made a move.
Nice.
With 1 free, did it last night, and with a heavy heart, Andrew Robertson is sold.
Yes.
For Diego Rico. And that might be me done because as we kind of discussed on the People's Poll earlier, I think this weekend across the board, almost every fixture is so tough to call. So I might, rather than taking a hit, I can take a real jump now. I've got like 5 million in the bank. I can go in one move, like El Stevens to Dele Alli or something like that if I want. I'm not sure if I'm going to. And I may well be wildcarding come Saturdays again. It'll be a 1 week punt. I don't know if there's anything obvious enough. They've gone Rico because it looked like it was going to go up last night. It will definitely go up tonight. I think as we get towards the weekend, it could go up again. There's every chance the way I was going to go with sort of Lundstrom and Kelly's value at the moment, I was going to end up with someone very cheap off the wild card as well. It's probably him. It's probably a move that I would have made on the wild card. Now they're 12.2 cheaper. And they do have one of the better fixtures this weekend. I've got no real trust or belief in them. But they do have one of the better fixtures this weekend at home to Burnley.
Yeah, true. Before we go into looking at some of the games, whilst we are live streaming, there's a few comments that people are jumping in, and I think it'd be rude to not give them a little bit of credit. Otherwise, they'll be disappointed about the fact that
you're not mentioning them.
They've been jumping in, and I've not mentioned them.
Normally, they just talk to each other on YouTube anyway.
Yeah, that is true. So do talk to yourselves. Pegasian _Rakesh. Rakesh, how are you? Susan Shah, you look like an Indian. Well, my dad was born in India. My mum's Indian. I was born in Barnet, North London, but I am Indian.
Much to everybody's shock.
I'm not
black and Suj isn't white.
Planting Seeds, FPL _OGS, OGS on Twitter. Suj, thoughts of being my dad? I'll do it. No problem. Yeah.
And the Twitter question's better.
You boys need something on the walls behind you now that you're at least semi-pro, like your logo or something. We've got plans.
Yeah, it's happening.
2020. Look out for 2020.
We're going full Andy, let's talk FPL green screens and all that.
Is that what we're doing, are we?
You said so.
Nice. And we've got Oscar Mbitha listening from Kenya. So he's the second Kenyan alongside Chris Tellers that we've got from Nairobi tuning in. So Kenya next, mate. We've got a road trip planned. And it might involve Kenya at some point.
We can't even get to Manchester. We ain't getting to Kenya.
No. 9 games down. Interesting weekend of football. I think a lot of it, apart from maybe the Chelsea-Bournemouth game, went as expected. I mean, you'd have thought Leicester were going to win as well. But there's plenty to talk about. Let's start with Liverpool 2, Watford 0. Quietly and maybe not been spoken about. That's 2 clean sheets in a row for Liverpool.
Yeah, now he sells a Liverpool defender. Within reason, I mean, just to say, for me, if I do wild cards ahead of Boxing Day, I almost definitely will bring Robertson straight back. Yeah, I got no bones about it. I'm not. I'll skip the Leicester fixture. No, I just get him back in. I really believed. I've maintained it for a long time. That said, the eye test tells me something very, very different.
Yeah, this was not a clean. This was not a comfortable clean sheet by any stretch.
Having left Robertson on the bench, having got the news at about 11:20 that he'd been left out, and the sources kind of checked out from previous.
Yeah,
and taking him out, then see him come on for the last half hour. The amount of crosses he put in, it was awful, mate. I was thinking, do you know what? In hindsight, half hour Robertson here is probably better than the 90 minutes I might get of Jordan Ayew later.
Yeah.
It was a tough watch. I didn't really know how to feel about it. The notable here on Liverpool is obviously Salah. And it's obviously, at this stage, it's more about what people may or may not do out the other side. I've got a little theory that his positioning at the moment is to save him off the back of the injury and to get the best out of him during, obviously, short run of fixtures where they're going sort of every 4 days for quite a while now. I mean, obviously, this week they're playing twice, but he will only play on Wednesday. Obviously, none of the big players are playing at Villa in the League Cup tomorrow night. Salah's back playing up front. This same thing happened at exactly the same time last year, basically, where they dropped Firmino into a wide area. Shaqiri's availability allows them to go to this 4-2-3-1. I think it's also been enforced a little bit by Fabinho's injury, where just having 2 sitting there together alongside each other in Henderson and Ronaldo gives them a little bit better balance. I feel that, bringing Chamberlain into that side, they can still very much go with the 3. So I think the main reason for this move is for Salah. I'm not sure if it's long term, short term on the other side of when they come back from Qatar. If you're going to Salah or Mane short term, it might actually now flip back to Salah because of the positioning.
It's interesting, isn't it, how quickly it's flipped. Now, Salah's ownership's at 22% at the moment. I reckon at least 50% of that is dead teams, if not maybe even a little bit more. You'd think of his 22% ownership.
Loads of people knocking about at the weekend who'd captained him. There was a few people who actually bought him Saturday to captain him Saturday, and well done to anybody who did that.
But the minority, 5 or 6% at best, in my opinion. In all the mini leagues that I'm in, I've seen one person having done that.
When I say Salah might be the better choice on the other side, I absolutely wouldn't advise anybody to go from Mane to Salah.
No, if they were buying now,
and close,
toss a coin,
really close at the moment. And obviously, there's a few games to judge. This might be something that was prepped specifically for this tournament in Qatar. We don't know. It might be something that's prepped because if there is a weakness with Leicester, it might be a little bit of pace centrally.
Yeah,
and Firmino getting around and Didi is something defensively that they might be thinking a little bit different. Yeah, I think there's every chance he might stay through the middle for a little while here, But I think it's just for the Christmas period. Exactly the same thing happened last year. And then we got to sort of mid-Jan and he changed back to a wide position again. I don't know if there's anything in that. Whereas a lot of games in a short space of time. And the weather. He's always got his shirt around his fingers and stuff, hasn't he, Salah? But
mate, if you were born in Egypt, you'd.
He looked sharp. I didn't watch the game in Salzburg.
It's not even that. He scored goals midweek as well.
Yeah, everybody who watched the game in Salzburg was he looked sharp, and he did at the weekend as well. So yeah,
These guys are right. You know what?
Toss a coin now.
I'm disappearing off screen a little bit. I think the camera's falling off the table over there. Oh, that's one for the live streams. Hello to everybody who is on there.
We have to give Watford some credit.
Yeah, I was going to say, like with
well.
Pearson, I heard a stat before the game about Christian Kabasele that Watford had kept most clean sheets and hadn't lost. They'd only lost once or twice when he had been on the pitch. It was generally he wasn't on the pitch. Yeah. I can't remember exactly what the stat was, but defensively they were much more stable with Christian Kabasele in the team.
It's average.
But yeah, I mean, it sometimes is the confidence it gives other players potentially thinking and seeing that he was there. But there was something from Watford. I just feel like it's a little bit now too little too late. They really are already so far stuck down at the bottom of the table that it's going to take a lot to come out of it. And once again, no goals.
No, the most interesting one, and I don't know if it's something that will obviously stick as they come into fixtures and look better on paper. But Decore's positioning was particularly interesting on Saturday, playing in this 10 role. And one of the things that really worked, I thought Will Hughes played really well in a central midfield position, which is something that Stephen at 6th goal said, that camera's so far out, mate.
Yeah, just stabilising.
He's right putting me off. It's something 6th goal has been screaming about for a long time, is to have Will Hughes in a central midfield position. He played alongside Capoue and played well. Decore's position is really interesting. 5.6, 0.9% ownership. I'm not suggesting you go and buy. But if he's going to stay with that sort of it's kind of a 4-2-3-1 position with Decore at 10, he might be of interest. He's a powerful player and he does get into the box well. They were a little unlucky, Watford.
He's a good player, Decore.
Stop talking when Yanni was sitting into the mic.
No, it's fine. I'm shouting loud. He's a good player, Decore. Really good player. And you'd think if Watford go down, there's going to be plenty of people sniffing around him. Not one for me at the moment. There's better value in and around. You take Todd Campbell.
It doesn't even appeal United this week. Sheffield United away the week after. Then there are some fixtures where they're going to need to put a run of results together between game week 20 and game week 26. It's looking bleaker and bleaker by the week. It's all well and good saying, yeah, they played all right at the weekend, but they're miles off safety at the moment. And there's every chance it will get worse for them this weekend. Yeah,
quite possibly. We did think the goal scoring is going to be their problem. That's, again, a blank. So there we go.
Again, I think it'll be better for having Deeney in that position as well. I just thought in the midfield area with Hughes behind Decore, they were a lot better at the weekend. But no idea if it was a system designed specifically for Liverpool. You can't really tell. No. So obviously stay away from them.
Burnley 1, Newcastle 0. Chris Wood picked up the goal. I only saw the highlights that were on Match of the Day of this game.
There weren't many.
There weren't. I just think Steve Bruce was particularly harsh on the referee. Maybe he did make mistakes, but it was the poor kid's first game. And Steve Bruce did kind of sort of lay into him a little bit for making mistakes.
Who's bothered? I mean, it's the typical manager thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, I just think
it might have been a foul, but then, your goalkeeper and your defenders should defend their 6-yard box better from a corner. Burnley do that corner so often from Ashley Westwood to that back post area. So it's coming, so get ready and defend it properly and stop making excuses.
Agreed.
I think Newcastle have got an issue here because Almiron missed the game at the weekend. Shelvey missed the game at the weekend. He's a good creative player, has been scoring a few recently. And St. Maximin's a big miss because he really is an outlet with his pace for them. And they've got games coming up which start to look a little bit rough, actually. And I think there's clean sheets for the teams that are about to play them in the next few weeks, which is it's good for Palace owners at the weekend.
Yeah.
United the week after. Leicester's a couple of games after that. They might get dragged back into trouble here in Newcastle because I think the first 11's all right. But if
lack of depth with Lascelles out and stuff.
As much as we joke about Almiron is never going to score, he's a threat with them in the fact he's busy and stuff. Joel Linton dropped into a deeper position on Saturday. Atsu played. He's bog average, man. So it didn't have a shot on target. I think maybe even going sort of short term, going Carroll and Gale up front, a little and large, and just changing the system a little bit might be a good idea for them. They're okay defensively, so I think they'll be all right. They're going to struggle for goals in the short term. It's like if you've got Martin Kelly at the weekend, he's
He's playing, of course he is, because we'll be benching.
Any other Palace defensive asset, whoever it be.
Yeah. Chelsea 0, Bournemouth 1. There are a ton of questions in the Twitter queues that we always ask for week in, week out about Chelsea. Has the bubble burst? Is it time to move off Abraham? What do you do with Mount? What do you do with Pulisic? It seems to be everybody's panicking about Chelsea at the moment. And albeit Bournemouth did well to go there and be organised and ended up nicking the goal, which was a great finish from Gosling. It wouldn't have surprised me if it wasn't given because of the offside, interfering with play or not. He wasn't. He was coming back in, the player that was offside. I don't know who it was from memory.
There's nothing wrong with the goal.
But he was close. He was only a metre and a half away. He was going to be in the eye line and sight of other players.
It doesn't matter. It wasn't in the eye line of the goalkeeper when Gosling shot. There was no one near him.
No, the keeper was still closing him down, Dan Gosling. So the keeper was still playing to the whistle. But look, regardless, what do you do with Chelsea at the moment? I've got 2 Chelsea-shaped problems. One is Christian Pulisic for FPL. The other is Tomori for Sky, who I thought I'd write out for another week, but I feel like now I'm done. I don't really want to keep Tomori anymore.
For Sky, I'd probably look at a Palace or a Brighton player tonight.
Yeah. I've got a move to make as soon as the teams are announced.
Okay. Yeah, something similar, but that's a different podcast.
Yeah.
Just cover Pulisic briefly, because you own.
Yes. And he's irritating me.
Why is he irritating you?
Because it's a lot of blanks in a row. That's the problem. It's 5 in a row now, I think it is, since I've owned him. So cheekily picked up the 1 point for the clean sheet because he got subbed at 64 minutes, but it's not what I'm looking for.
That's
here.
Even greater concern, isn't it, actually? It's the fact that he's getting hooked when they need a goal with 25 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Because that's not been happening for a while. And also Lampard has spoken about there will be rotation over these periods, particularly in the midfield areas, is what he said.
Yep.
And I think there's a chance as well with Pulisic that he possibly doesn't start at Tottenham.
I think Pulisic is gone for me. I've got Moussa and Pulisic, and they're both on their way out. I shall be seeing what I do with Christian Pulisic.
I ended up in a position with no Chelsea players following the Abraham injury and wanting to get Zaha in the team. And that's all right.
Worked out all right so far for you.
It didn't work out great the night they played Villa, but you can't believe from those last 4 fixtures, 3 home games, West Ham, Villa, Bournemouth, and an away game at an Everton side that hadn't won for ages. Either. 3 points.
Yeah, very bad.
That's how they're getting hunted down. We beat them Sunday. We got above them. You know that. Unbelievable. I sat here with you before we played you. How many game weeks ago was that? 5 or 6?
Less.
And I said our season's finished. We ain't played well.
No.
Now we could beat them at the weekend.
And truth be told, you're
ridiculous.
Still not playing well.
We'll get on to that. I think Chelsea at the weekend will play Kante, Jorginho and Kovacic. I feel that's obvious. I don't know what podcast I was speaking about it on last week. It might have even been the main pod. We've got a massive problem at the moment at centre-half, and it's not just defensively, it's offensively as well. 2 players who had the most passes at the weekend in the league, Zuma and Rudiger. Now, Rudiger's an improvement for them defensively on Tomori and Christensen, and will make them a bit better defensively. But all day long, you would let those 2 have the ball. All day. I ain't letting it go into Jorginho's feet. I ain't letting that, go into the wide players. So they're just going sideways a lot. Zamori and Zamori.
Zamoriga
and Zuma.
Yeah, Zamoriga
and Zuma. Tomori's actually all right coming out with the balls. That's a blow with him. And Christensen, actually, when he played at Everton, this fixture probably would have been more suitable for Christensen.
Yeah.
I would have said. But I would expect if Tomori's not back, it will be Rudiger and Zuma again at Tottenham. And you can bet your life that Tottenham will let the 2 of them have the ball. And expose them to win it back from there. So they've got issues. They've definitely got issues. And they're dragged back into a race that, 4 or 5 weeks ago, kind of level with Leicester, weren't they?
Yeah. Look, they were always punching above their weight a little bit with so many youngsters in the team. So it's more of a levelling out. I don't think anyone can worry too much about the wheels coming off. They still will be all right. They'll just get back into their rhythm soon. And they'll still win a lot more games. I still think they'll
finish 4th.
Yeah.
They've got enough attacking talent, and I think it's
not clicking right now.
Well, it's well reported that they're going to spend some money in January now the ban's been lifted as well.
Yeah.
I have to say that some of the people they're getting linked with, like Zaha and Sancho, I don't think they need.
No.
Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic, Willian. They've got wide players. What do you want more wide players for? You need centre halves and probably an alternative centre forward to Abraham, who I think was always going to have a barren spell. And he's not particularly having a barren spell. He's just come back from injury. But he was never likely to maintain the scoring record that he was showing at the start of the season. Didn't make him a bad FPL pick. And he's still a decent FPL pick because he's very good value. Just I think the expectation early doors was like, oh, he might challenge for the golden boot here. That's not going to be the case.
Well, with Vardy doing what Vardy is doing, not even close. Speaking of centre halves, one of the ones that they've been linked to, one of their ex-old boys who was across the other side of the pitch in Nathan Ake. How do you pronounce his name?
Okay. Well, Nathan Ake wasn't on the other side of the pitch because he's injured.
But
and he might not play
previously.
He might not play for Bournemouth again.
Is that what the thing?
Well,
he's out till January.
There
was a talk about there was a buyback clause or something in his contract which might have expired now. No one seems to know the real ins and outs of whether or not.
To be honest, looking at what Chelsea paid for Kepa.
Yeah.
Like if they want to fix the problem, they'll overpay for Ake. I think Ake would probably give them good balance. I think it'd be a decent signing for them. He'd probably be a good understudy for Laporte at Man City, for example. He's a good player. I think he's a great player. But he's young and will develop as well. The two that did play at the back played well. Bowler counts Chris Metham, who we've been critical of on occasions, played very well. And Bournemouth played quite a flat five in midfield, really, with Lewis Cook, who's a central player, operating off the right because we've got so many injuries. Ryan Fraser was livelier, particularly in the first half, coming off the left. And as we said this morning, Josh King came off injured, but if he's fit, he might be a decent 1 week punt for the weekend against Burnley.
Well, I think if you get him in, it may not even be a 1 week punt, but they do have a real on-off set of fixtures now, Bournemouth.
Yeah, it's not really till you get to Jan.
Yeah. But then once you get to Jan, they've got a very, very nice run. The thing with Josh King is the 4% ownership as well is particularly interesting. So for me, Josh King is actually a real interesting consideration right now.
Burnley at home, Arsenal at home. Yeah, Brighton away, West Ham, Watford, Norwich. Do you know what? They actually look all right now, don't they? I think it's a massive win.
Wait, there's one game, right? The fixtures look all right. Bournemouth is one game, so let's wait and see.
No, I said last week, I thought they were in that one win's given them some clarity and some distance.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it goes to show, even look, we won one game at the weekend and you suddenly have that little bit of breathing room. This is the table where just even 2-3 points can make such a big difference.
Yeah, you look at them fixtures, they're all right now. Having got that one out of the way, they're not too bad at all. They might be worth, see, I've got Rico. I know what I'm doing, don't I? Yeah, might be worth a second look, Bournemouth. You've got to keep an eye on injury status. Harry Wilson has been sent off somewhere for further treatment. They can't figure out what the problem is.
Right. It's back to Liverpool, maybe.
I don't know what's happening there.
Leicester 1, Norwich 1. We can talk as much as we want to about Vardy's goal or Krul's own goal. It was an own goal.
Yeah, it's the correct decision.
But Leicester dropped points or Norwich picked up a draw. I don't know how you want to look at it.
Both.
I think Leicester should have won, but the one that's getting the attention from the Norwich side is now our friend Pookie. 3 goals in 4 and an assist before that. Party's back on?
Not with that toe injury, it's not.
Well, we don't know the extent of it at the moment, right?
Broken toe, he's going to struggle.
It's fractured, I heard.
Was it fractured?
Possibly, yeah. If we played through pain, their fixtures are real good, bad,
one
good, bad.
One of the things with injuries is like you can get injuries and like the adrenaline
keeps you going when you're in the middle of a game, for sure.
Who was it playing for Everton a few years ago? Did their like the cruciate ligaments? I think it was Balassi.
Okay.
And he played on for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He didn't play for like another year. Sometimes adrenaline just
keeps you going.
Yeah, and I think that might have been the case for Pookie at the weekend. I know Farker said after the game that if he'd been 100%, then he might have taken one of them. The goal was really nice. It was a goal they commonly scored in the Championship last season with like Buendia. He gets on the ball, Pookie knows to go.
Yeah.
They've been changing and chopping and changing a lot in midfield recently, Norwich, but went to more of a two-sitting midfielders in the middle at the weekend. And they look better for it when they do it. And I think they should stay with that. I think that Sheffield United, they went back to kind of one sitter and they lost out towards the end of the game. Go with a 2. Give yourself that little bit more protection because there are goals in that team. Like, Cantwell will get half a dozen goals or whatever. And Pukki's on, 9 now?
Yeah.
And hopefully for them, he stays fit for a little while. But not a team I'd be looking at the moment.
Would you say the same for Leicester as well? Because you're now looking at, they're walking into City away, followed by Liverpool at home. If you don't already own any Leicester assets, now's not the time to be particularly buying any Leicester assets.
Depends on what way you look at it. If you generally think Leicester will go to Man City and do what Man United did to them, I don't think they'll do what I said last week about going like Barnes and Gray in a wide area. No. I don't think they'll do it. It was interesting that it went with Iheanacho again.
Yeah.
And there was this incident where Iheanacho didn't give the ball back. Then he got fouled. And then from the free kick, they didn't take a shot. They just give him the ball back, which I don't know why anybody didn't show on the TV highlights. Yeah, it was a bit strange. And then he got hooked straight quite soon afterwards. And I think it was quite decisive from Rodgers, who was like, okay, this isn't working this time. Let's go and change this early. But it didn't change the game enough for him. It didn't exactly pepper Norwich. And Norwich had a couple of breakaways. They were value for a draw, in my opinion, what I've seen and heard about it. No, I wouldn't be buying Leicester this weekend, personally. But I probably would play the assets. It's like, for me, so if I go, say, Del Stevens to Ali, I'd probably have Chilwell as my first sub and go with all the cheapies I've got. Because I do think City will probably beat them at the weekend, actually. But I don't know, is that a mistake?
I don't know. I've still got one eye on that triple captainship against West Ham. I want to see what happens in the next 2 games on Jamie Vardy.
If you've got Vardy Maddison, they play.
Oh, yeah.
And if you, although we've kind of joked and said recently you've got a captain in and stuff, that's not the case this weekend. But I also wouldn't say that you can't.
No.
I think you can. If you've seen enough where you think that Vardy can expose City, then do it.
Well, you didn't see it yesterday, put it that way.
No,
because no one challenged.
We'll come on to them in a bit. I suspect that against Leicester, they'll go 4-2-3-1 again, which with like Rodri and a Gundogan, whatever you think of him, will give them a little bit more insurance in that area.
For sure. Sheffield United 2, Aston Villa 0. The interesting thing here with Sheffield United, again, is it's the midfield runners coming in and breaking into the box that are picking up all of the goals, much in the same way a few weeks ago. Who did they beat? Let me just check up here. Was it the Newcastle game, 2-0? I just think
when they beat Burnley 3-0.
Oh, Burnley 3-0.
Fleck got a couple. Lundstrom got a couple and Fleck scored.
They're just so good at the moment, Sheffield United.
Well, Fleck probably
is suspended. Let's just put that out there.
Yes,
first.
He is.
Don't buy John Fleck right now.
I'm sure people have a quick look. See how many
let's have a look.
Obviously, Lundstrom's still going to get the intentions now. 5.2, gone up again last night. Probably a little way to go yet until at least that 5th booking comes. I think I'm right in saying that it goes up to you need 10 yellows after the Boxing Day fixtures, I believe.
Yeah.
So there's 2 more game weeks to make it through, and then you can get booked and you won't get suspended until you get 10 yellow cards, which I think then results in a 2-game ban, I believe.
Yep, correct.
Which people like Hollybass and that, they'll get there.
Sooner rather than later.
Yeah, probably like early January.
Yes.
No worries. Milivojevic would be another one. But even looking at the stats here, so impressive again from Sheffield United. So Villa's XG in the game was about 0.6, 0.7, which ain't too bad until you consider the fact that it had a penalty in there.
Yeah.
So actually the XG, if you take that out, is awful. McGoldrick had the highest XG this weekend.
Wow.
Oliver Norwood had the highest XA.
Okay.
I think he was the only player in the league to create 2 big chances at the weekend. And obviously, you look at the positional maps. Lundstrom's the highest positional player on average position. Yeah. And Fleck breaks through and scores 2 goals. I think Fleck, actually, we've talked about maybe holding Cantwell as that kind of 5th midfielder. A lot of people might be a little bit extra Fleck, but he might be worth it.
4.9 million, only 1.5% ownership, and 10,099 of you beautiful people have bought him this week. When he can't play. And he is not the most highly bought. Baldock is at the moment, followed by Lundstrom for this week only, which doesn't surprise me. But then having said that, 4 people this week have bought Eastwood the 4.3 million goalkeeper who can't play. 4 people this week have bought him.
Well, it's cheap. I mean, quite why you do that rather
but
than buying
then you've got David
4.0.
Martin or something like that, right?
I don't know.
He's out on loan as well. It's not even like he can play this season. Who are you 4 people that have bought this goalkeeper in?
We'll never understand the wonders.
No.
Villa had a bad day at the office. Made some strange selections, like Henry Lansbury playing.
Yeah.
Some strange selections. Wesley's just not doing it up front. Constant, but Engels come back in. They went with House at centre half. It felt like he was throwing something at it to stick after they got battered by Leicester. Trying to, I don't know, he'll know better than me, obviously, but I thought to change both centre halves was probably a bit much. They'd have been better off keeping Konsa in there, I think, and probably playing Engels with him. You do have a good run of fixtures. Southampton at home, Norwich at home. I think for those, especially with the wild card, you can still dive in on them this week. And I think if you do, it's Grealish. I wouldn't now, with that defensive situation, bother throwing in Target. Gilbert and El Mohammadi, we don't even know where we're at now, where El Mohammadi stayed in for the Leicester game. I think it's Gilbert's shirt, really. Target's then the only other alternative. Goalkeeper, okay. Okay, only because he's like cheapest, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I bought him in because he was the best 4.5. We discussed it last week. I didn't really want to pay 4.7 or 4.8. So yeah, I've gone with Tom Heaton. It's fine. I may look at Jack Grealish as my Pulisic replacement. Depends what I do with the money elsewhere.
We've got longer term fixtures, Villa, where it's a decent run for quite a while. So I mean, when I say Grealish is those with wildcard, it doesn't have to be just for the 2 games. You can look at that for longer
4
periods.
or 5, yeah.
But I do think he's one of them. He'll dip in and out of forms. Like, you will have dry spells.
Yeah,
you'll have to accept that. But price is all right. Can't.
6.1 million at the moment is Jack Grealish.
He's also on 4 yellows as well, though.
Yeah, that is the challenge. And the way he dives around or falls around or gets fouled, one of those could easily get called as a dive, and a dive is an automatic booking.
He is brilliant at winning free kicks.
Yeah,
sometimes he gets taken out, and sometimes he doesn't.
But if he does get called on a dive, then he's going to get booked straight away. So you do have to be aware of that for sure. Off-putting a little bit.
Yeah, I think there will be a little movement towards Villa assets the closer we get to the weekend, because the fixture will appeal. But I would probably expect Southampton to go down and score.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, they should have scored against us, and that's a nice segue into Southampton nil West Ham 1. The late kickoff on Saturday with Dings hitting the post. Yeah, I mean, ultimately we went and got an away win and kept a clean sheet. There's nothing more to add to that, really. Everybody go and buy Sebastian Haller. That's my FPO advice of the week. Sebastian Haller is now going to go on a 20-game straight scoring run, and I'd also probably buy the goalkeeper, because he's going to keep Fabianski out, and I don't know.
Good.
If you're feeling bold, get Jack Wilshere as well. Go for it.
I was wondering if you were being serious there for a moment, but I do
with
know
Haller,
taking the bit.
Not a chance.
His numbers were good from the weekend, mate.
Well, I think it's too simplistic for everybody to jump on this. Look what happens when he plays with a striker up front. I just think it's too simplistic.
Well, we spoke about it with Chris last Thursday.
Plenty have said it, and I just think that you need to see it 2 or 3 times before you can draw any conclusions, rather than straight away jump into the problems are solved here. Which is I don't think it happened a lot after the Chelsea game, but everyone was obviously much more positive about the Chelsea game. One swallow does not a summer make, sadly. So, but look, we went away, we kept a clean sheet, and from an attacking point of view, we were a threat. I thought Antonio clearly deserved man of the match, and he's just a beast. You can't help but like him. You can't help but like that guy. His tweets afterwards as well, with his handballs and his mega massive hands on his pictures and stuff, are class. So good. Look, I put a tweet out yesterday that not getting sacked this side of 2019, in my opinion. I think they don't want to sack him. They'd rather not have to pay out Compo, and they'd rather he did well. And obviously, I'd rather he did well. Why would I want him not to do well? So, whilst he's still there for the next couple of games, Bournemouth away and Leicester at home until the end of the year, we'll just stick by him and give him some encouragement to play 2 up top again. He left Felipe on the bench. I heard Felipe was injured or had a stomach bug or something. I think He did an Ozil, didn't he? He picked up an injury after he'd been dropped.
I don't think he would have been in that team anyway.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I didn't want him in the team.
Once that decision must have been made to go to 2 up front. I thought Fornals did okay.
He did
Probably
okay.
The best I'd seen of him.
He did okay. There's a couple of assists now he's picked up. He's quite a slight little player, so adapting to Premier League is going to the physicality of it's probably taking its toll. But Snodgrass was all over it as well. I think his just general energy levels do help.
Better defensively, because quite a bit of pressure in that second half.
Well, Bono, 1-on-1 is a very good defender. Actually, he is positionally really good. He's not that great on the ball, but Bono is not bad. I mean, Diop's our best defender. Is left on the bench. We're getting into Tottenham a little bit here, so let's save some of that.
Let's talk about Danny Ings then.
Hit the post, could have scored. Still
a shout for the weekend if people want to buy.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I didn't see anything from him to say don't go in. Remember what you're paying for him is £6 million worth. He's not exactly your star guy, but for me, I still think that Chris Wood or Ashley Barnes are better shouts at 6.1, 2, 3, wherever they are in that bracket. I'd rather one of those two than Danny Ings. I still always would be fearful with Danny Ings that he's going to pull up with.
I think we've got to get over that at the moment, haven't we?
Yeah, sure, but I think if it was me right now, I'd go back to Chris Wood.
Just said I think they'll score at Villa at the weekend, and you can't really see it being anyone but him.
No, he's the only one that could score.
He was unlucky again at the weekend when he crashed the bar, didn't he? With
shot. Yeah. Was it the bar or the post it hit?
It's your game, man.
I had it in the background, is it?
Background? What background is your
team? I wasn't able to watch it. I had to be somewhere, but I had it on my phone on the sly. So I was just keeping tabs with it. It wasn't exactly like the most riveting game to watch from what I could see.
There's a surprise. So, just a note on them with Southampton. Look, they are, and it's probably more caution. For whatever reason, they're really struggling in home games. They are a better side away. They're performing better in away games. I think the performance at Man City, I know they had to hold on for a long time. The performance at Arsenal, they should have won. You say, oh yeah, it's Arsenal, whatever. But in these home games, yeah, okay, they beat Norwich and Watford. You expect, okay, yeah, go and do the third one against West Ham. Now just play 3 of the weakest teams at home. And the 6-point return is okay, but it's still in a shitter. And if Villa beat them at the weekend, they're going to pull away. And I think at that point, you're going to go, those are the 3 that are going down. I think Southampton can...
You either.
JWP, nothing. Set piece, that kind of stuff. Okay, moving on. Next game.
Manchester United 1, Everton 1. The revival under Big Duck continues for Everton. They'll be well happy with a point away at Old Trafford. And United just weren't firing on all cylinders, really.
I want to talk about the Moise Keane thing first, because baffling. Like, really baffling.
It's in one of the questions from Big Geezer Ron.
Okay. Should we come back to it then?
No, let's talk about it because I think his question is more of a comedy question.
I don't get that. So you're bringing him on with 20 minutes to go. Quite an attacking move, bringing him on for Bernard.
Yeah.
And you've decided to take him off with a minute to go for another forward, Nias. And just, if you're looking to hold on, just like Cuco Martinez, like so bad, but just put him on in the wide area, mate.
Yeah,
say like defensively double up to help with James or whatever. And then just to completely ignore him when he was taken off. And there's that old image circulating, isn't it, about how when his mum was with him when he did the signing and that, isn't it?
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, take care of my son and all that. We will take care of your son. Like, hold on, this poor fella's, and I don't think he should have walked down off the pitch rather than going to the bench, but a little bit of sympathy for them, man. I don't know what that's from. All Ferguson has to do is like give him a cuddle and say, look, this is why I've done it. I'm wasting time. Just say that. But like, you don't even look at him, acknowledge him. He might have come on and been shit. Was it really worth doing that? Like, is Nias going to be better?
I don't have any answers to any of your questions.
I just thought it was strange. I thought it was a really strange thing to do from Ferguson because everything about Everton since he's taken this interim role has been so positive. I don't know why you've done anything there to try and put some sort of negative spin on this.
I think just, but I bet they've spoken about it. I think behind closed doors they've had a chat about it, and there's no problem.
Probably not, but to everybody's eye, it's like there's a problem.
Yeah.
So I didn't think it was good. Everton were okay. This is the first time United have been fucked by a Ferguson since their previous manager decided to leave them and bail out at the right time in 2013. I suspected Everton would go a bit more defensive, and they did. Mason Holgate in centre midfield was probably picked out of necessity, looking at the players that they had unavailable, with Sigurdsson missing as well.
Yeah,
and he did quite well. I obviously didn't watch the whole game because it was at Wolves. But I haven't seen the highlights and what people were saying. Holgate played very well in holding midfield. It's quite comfortable on the ball. I'm not overly surprised. United still had the most efforts this weekend, but didn't overly test Pickford.
No.
It looked like a draw was probably about right.
There's only one player at Everton that I would consider, Richarlison, because of his attacking threat. There's not really anyone there that interests me at all. And he's too expensive at the moment at 7.8 million for me. He does have the advantage of being classified as a midfielder. I could get to him from Pulisic, but it doesn't inspire me just yet, not knowing who their manager is. Decent run after the Arsenal home game.
Decent run now.
Yeah, including Arsenal for sure.
We'll get onto them as well.
Yeah.
On United, are you on Rashford or not?
Nah, only in my North team.
Is that a fault for you, or?
It is, but then it will change the balance of my team. Where I've had two strikers and a cheapo striker, I'll be going to not three premium, but you know what I mean, slightly more expensive strikers, and then I'll have to make a compromise in the middle of the park. I am thinking about Rashford. Of course I am. He's one of the top point scorers in the game at the moment, but I don't see how I'm going to get to him, and I might just suck it up and go without.
Watford, Newcastle, Burnley, Arsenal, Norwich, next 5.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at them at both ends of the pitch, yeah. Interesting, Wan-Bissaka, like for the second week in a row, I think most tackles in the league. But I don't know if he had it the week before, but it was certainly loads against City. He definitely had the most tackles so far this weekend at the weekend, which is surprising because obviously United had more of the ball here than they did in the City fixture. But Luke Shaw's an interesting one. Possibly short term, got back in the team. 2 shots on target yesterday. Cheapish price. He could be the one defensively rather than, I think Maguire feels safe because of the fixtures. 0.1 cheaper than Shaw as well.
Yeah.
Is Shaw going to be able to play 2 games in 3 days over the Christmas period? You could see the rotation there. So by default, Maguire is probably the sensible choice, and he's got to get on the end of one of these set pieces eventually for United.
Well, with the size of his head, yes.
I think they're the main team to look at this week. But I think if you've already got Rashford,
doubling up with James,
and there's an unpredictability about Watford, which I spoke about in terms of, part why, definitely going Vardy last week, incorrectly, obviously. Yeah, there's an unpredictable element about Watford, which is concerning on this as well. But then, okay, right, even if we miss it, you've got Newcastle at home on the other side as well. And we spoke about their injury problem. So, especially from a defensive aspect, you think it's got to be something. Well, they had 2 clean sheets this year or something shite.
Very, 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 very few.
We shouldn't be frustrated by this with United to go and beat Tottenham and City and then fail when they're expected to win. And there might be more of that in those good fixtures to come.
Well, look, the top 4 is tantalising close for them as well. Are they tied on points with you, or they're one or two behind you? I think. They're close. So they've got to have that motivation to get back into the top 4 has got to drive them through these next 4 or 5 games to want to win them all.
Unless they strengthen, Fred and McTominay have done well lately, but unless they strengthen midfield, I don't think they'll have enough. So I think in some of these games where you really expect them, they won't. Whereas you feel like with Spurs now, we'll pull it out. If we're playing someone dodge and they put up walls, we'll find different ways because we'll go more direct, for example. We'll find different ways. We've got pace of Son, the movement of Ali. We've got a great forward up front who only needs a sniff.
Yeah.
Lucas scored again yesterday. I think probably from that perspective, you would probably, and obviously I say it with a biased head, you would think Spurs more than United. But I still think Chelsea will finish 4th, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Anybody seen Pogba anywhere? Pogba watch. We should start Pogba watch.
Idea.
we've got a bunch of people chatting on the live stream. For those that we haven't interacted with, I do apologise. We're actually just recording a regular pod, so
stop apologising.
So that we're not going to respond. But if any of you have seen Paul Pogba,
do let us know.
Just
we'll look through the live chat later.
Share us, because
it will amuse us.
He's missing in action at the moment, and you're talking about strengthening the middle of the park. That's what they need.
When we played the midweek, was it 12 days ago now? It was like he'll be close. There was talk of him maybe playing a Manchester derby, and then last week nothing again. It's been like that for a while.
It has been for a long time. Talk to me about your lot then. 2-1 win away at Wolves, robbed by every description of the game. Again, similar to the Manchester United game, he didn't play well, not firing on all cylinders. What's going on here? Is it back to the same as what we had under Poch, flattering to deceive, stuttering along but still pulling out results?
No, because from the positive aspects of yesterday, like weather conditions, Ricky, I tell you, man, like, did it rain? Oh my Lord, it rained. That was some heaven stuff. It was difficult conditions to play
throughout the whole game.
Now, obviously, you know what it's like when it was really wet. You know when it gets like that. They were good, the Wolves crowd, really good, really got behind their team. So it become a really difficult game. And when Wolves have got a player like Traore, who just heads out, he gets the crowd up every time, doesn't he? So it very much became like a cup game. Like the positives from Spurs were the amount of blocks, positioning defensively. Excuse me. If I look on it and reflection, would I look at it and go, Gazaniga made a worldy save at any point in the game? No, not really.
Okay.
However, there's some different numbers about Spurs I'll prefer to talk about on Tottenham tomorrow, because other than desire, which, you know what, when you go away from home and you score a last-minute winner, you don't care how.
No.
You really don't care how. However, had that gone the other way and Wolves had nicked that late winner, every Spurs fan today would be moaning. And I couldn't believe when
Spurs' performance.
Yeah. I couldn't believe when I got on the train after the game how positive everybody were going about Spurs. And like, oh, look at the show. And it's true. If you look at the XG from the game yesterday, Spurs' XG was higher than Wolves. But look at the pressure in the game, the amount of crosses Wolves in, the amount of ball they had. As I said, I'll go into the stats a bit more tomorrow. Who played well for Spurs yesterday? Lucas got a good goal. Some of the blocking from Sanchez and Alderweireld was impressive. Like, they put their bodies on the line and that. Jan scored, obviously, the winner. Wolves went asleep for a second and you nick it. And that's Mourinho, isn't it? Fine margins.
Yeah, of course.
He tells Vertonghen to go for the corner, doesn't he? Because nobody's got his eye on it. Fine margins. No, Spurs have to be better. Wolves are very, very good, by the way.
Who would you buy? Good. I've got Jimenez already.
I'll talk about this more tomorrow. We met, me and Ricky Saunders went up for the game, and we met Bradley Parker before the game in Wolverhampton. Great lad, Bradley. And I tried to pin him down. I said, you can only buy one Wolves player next week. Who'd you buy? He said, Jota. We should have known that with him.
Yeah.
I said, surely, Brad, if there's no money, no object, you can't buy him above Jimenez. You don't mean that, do you?
Yeah.
But then, interestingly, because I get this all the time on Kane, I look at Jimenez's average position in the game. But I think that, like, he ended up deeper than Jota and Traore in terms of average touch. He ended up close to Moutinho and Neves. But in the way the game panned out, I think Moutinho and Neves ended up a lot higher up the pitch than they normally would as well. I think Jimenez is captainable this Saturday if you own him. That's absolutely fine. I said I can't get Ayew to Jimenez in one move.
Yeah.
I could have, and I obviously still can, definitely now as well. Is that the one where the -4 is justifiable, like an Ayew to Jimenez?
I don't know why you bought Jordan Ayew in the first place.
On my bench, blood, and to play this game week, if I'm honest with you.
And now he's got to go for Raul Jimenez. I mean, Jimenez.
I won't do it, mate.
Nah,
I don't think I'll do it.
A lot of people have been talking about whether Jimenez or Tammy Abraham is the right one to make way for Rashford, because obviously they don't have enough money to make that move. Jimenez is, since I've owned him, he hasn't scored yet, but he has picked up a couple of assists in the last 2 games. And so he's ticking along. He's doing just enough that I can't justify selling him.
What's your plan with him?
Sticking with him. I haven't got any reason to sell him.
Liverpool City afterwards, or City then Liverpool.
Yes, I think they like to hit on the counter. I've got no reason.
I also
to
asked
sell him.
Bradley because I thought it was important. They obviously haven't rotated a huge amount in Europe.
And in the league, they haven't rotated that much.
Well, they don't in the league generally, no. But in Europe, he's been picking stronger teams. Even the team that played last Thursday and already through was
fairly strong.
Yeah, obviously, like Jimenez and that didn't play. Jota come on a sub and got hat-trick. It was still like Moutinho didn't get a break again. You're like,
no,
are you going to give this guy a break? Now, they play City on the 27th and then Liverpool inside 48 hours away on the 29th. I said to Bradley, is he going to like flog all 11 again in the 2 games? And he said, no, he probably wouldn't. Bradley's thought was that as City was first and it was the home game, he would go full on at City. And then he probably would make 5 or 6 changes for the Liverpool away game.
Yeah.
That's just his opinion. He could be completely wrong. But it's something you might want to be cautious of as well. They didn't make a substitution in the game, mate. There was no substitution in the game till the 88th minute, which I think added to it as a spectacle as well. It wasn't a brilliant technical football match. No. It was quite high level in terms of its intensity. The weather and everything made it, and the atmosphere was good. It really made it feel like a cup tie.
Traore is the one that I'm potentially looking at for my exit from Yarmolenko as well at 5.1. I think he's cheap, but Fleck just seems 4.9 or even Cantwell at 4.7 if they're going to be on my bench. I don't know if I can justify Traore. And his stats in terms of FPL points, like 3 goals and 3 assists, are not like groundbreaking. He's causing trouble and chaos for a lot of people, but his end product isn't like electric by any stretch at the moment. And 2 of those goals came in one game.
He might benefit from these tougher games coming up, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have him.
Well, I'm just saying it's 3 goals, 2 against Man City, 1 against Spurs.
I'd have him in my team. Can you imagine him and Antonio together? They would cause chaos.
I know we've joked the crapid thing and stuff and all that.
No, he's done. He's good now.
He was comfortably man of matches.
Yeah, he's good now.
Unstoppable. I'd buy him for Spurs tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'd get him in. I wouldn't use him for anything other than the last 20 minutes of a football match.
But get him in. The pace and stamina. I remember watching an interview with him after the West Ham game on when it was on Amazon, and the funny thing was, he goes, I can't go to the gym and do weights. Well, what? He goes, yeah, because if I do weights, I actually bulk up super quick. I was like, that's you not doing any weights.
He is a unit.
He goes, I can't. If I start doing weights, I'll double in size.
He rinsed Vertonghen so many times, and I couldn't even look at it afterwards and go, Jan had a bad day. Like, he didn't.
He's just quick.
He's
off the mark. Off the mark speed is when he knocks it past you and he's gone.
You can't win. And one of the things I said last week, the goal came from a central position. I said that's where I was worried because of the midfield problems. Is where the actual goal came from. Yeah, he kept getting down the outside, but actually we dealt with the crosses quite well because Alderweireld and Sanchez positionally were quite good throughout the game. He's so quick. He's not even. Yeah, it's different levels of quick. It's unstoppable.
It's the off the mark speed that's the difference.
You can get your body in as well, and
you bounce off him.
No chance. Finished. So.
Traore.
Yeah. The only thing you can do is you have to get to him when he's receiving it straight away.
Yeah.
But then,
if he's gone past,
if he steps over it or something, there's no recovery. You can have 2-3 yards on him, he'll beat you. Doesn't matter who you are.
No.
Electric. Top clubs will start looking at him.
Agreed. And credit to Nuno Espirito Santo.
Well, properly coached now as well. They're so good.
They are, aren't they?
So good.
I told you, I watched the game midweek when they beat us. They just drilled, know their positions, press well. Just so well coached, Wolves. Arsenal 0, Man City 3. Arsenal
just miss
0.
a little bit more defensively to be.
Yeah, but Willy Bolly's out right now, so he comes back in.
Coached about him for a while, haven't they? Just small little elements like on the 2 goals yesterday's cost them.
Yeah. Let's talk about Arsenal 0, Kevin De Bruyne 3. Because he literally ran that game.
I thought Raheem Sterling scored, actually.
Well, he scored one of them. He did. But Kevin De Bruyne got the assist.
Laid it on a
plate. His way he glides around the pitch, left foot, right foot, pings it, takes it, give it to me with a player on me, give it to me with a player without, not on me, whatever you want to do. He was just head and shoulders yesterday.
So me and Ricky bombed it out of Wolverhampton in some monsoon-like rain and dived on the first train back to Birmingham, dived in a pub just in time to see City go 2-0 up. And at the time, I didn't even know he scored the first goal.
Yeah.
And then for 10, 15 minutes, watching him was like, I'm not going to say out of body experience, watching him, just watching him, like
the space he picks
just
up.
watching him going, he's going to destroy these.
Yeah.
Every time he gets the ball.
Yeah.
And can't make excuses or apologies for Arsenal because it's just so often we understand, we think, I've been told by Adam and a few other people said it now as well, that Arteta's done. He's going to be the new manager.
He's 1-4 now on Betfair Exchange. Worth a tenner?
What, to win you £2.50?
Yeah,
go and get yourself a brew dog or something. Okay, so Arsenal want to get a manager in who knows the club well and has played for them and understands. Isn't that Lundberg? Or
Freddie, I can't comment on these managers because they're unproven, right? At this point, they've just gone and got their badges and their license. Now, Arteta, I would take over Freddie Ljungberg because he's been in the dugout next to Pep Guardiola for quite a while now. So he's got a little bit more first-hand experience, whereas Freddie's been coaching the kids. So I don't see Freddie Ljungberg as a long-term appointment because he hasn't had the experience of dealing with every type of situation that football management can throw at you. Arteta, I reckon, as much as he's so pretty and cute, I reckon he's got a backbone to him as Arteta.
The reality is we haven't got a clue of him.
No,
it could go either way.
No, yeah, I think Arteta's got some steel to him. Put it that way. I think he will go in there and he'll.
Him and Lundberg, both his players did.
Yeah, so I think he'll be an okay appointment, Arteta. Like, put it this way, he will carry more weight than Emery did at the end because Emery was almost a laughing stock a little bit. People were joking about his good evenings, and I don't think he carried the weight and respect anymore. Arteta, I don't think is going to piss about. He's going to be straight in there and do it. But it doesn't. Like the team are just bad. The team are bad. They were so slow, sideways. You know what? The thing I like with Freddie is that he's tried to get the youngsters playing a little bit more. So Martinelli started the last couple of games, and he's a live wire on the left.
He was for 30 seconds yesterday.
Well, I think he's got capability. He's capable. Saka less so for the minutes that he played.
I felt sorry for him having to go on and play against Sterling.
You know what? And the one that impressed me the most for the minutes that he did it, we're literally talking a couple of instances. Was it Smith Rowe?
Yeah, he did really well. Was it either the pre-season gone or the one before?
He was doing what De Bruyne was doing in terms of finding space in between the defence and the midfield. They just weren't giving him the ball. He'd play a 1-2, find himself in a pocket of space, and they'd go backwards. You're like, the guy, I feel for him because he was doing all right.
I was more watching City positioning because I'm not going to learn anything from Arsenal at the moment until they changed the manager and once the game was beat. But yeah, Smith Rowe is a better player than Ozil.
Yeah,
let's just get on it and be honest.
I agree with you on that. I just thought he looked positionally all right, and I don't know. So I still believe, like I said it before, would I rather be in Arsenal shoes or Man United shoes? I don't know if I'm as convinced, but I think they've got the strength and depth in youth talent there at Arsenal that it's a good job for someone.
Ozil's played how many games in a row now?
I don't know, but I know that is it Kevin De Bruyne's more assists and goals at the Emirates this season than Ozil has. He's only played there once.
That's no shock, is it? I mean, Ozil's got the benefits of Europa League appearances and that as well. Mesut Ozil, how many games he played in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 now.
Wow.
2 assists.
Not enough for your creative number 10 of that standard. Not enough.
Good fixtures. Good fixtures. Won one of them games. I mean, forget even his contribution of assists. Won one of those games.
So, before we get into some Twitter questions, because we've run down all of the games, shall we?
Just before we do, De Bruyne or Sterling, do you think they're captainable at the weekend?
Kevin De Bruyne's captainable any time, man. Guys, when I saw people moving away from him because he hadn't
the thing is with him, right? He'll have the mental one. Like he's not going, I'm going to get you an 8 or 9 like once every 3 or 4 weeks. He might have like 3 blanks. He's going to smash you like a 17 or so. I mean, he could have been on for any sort of score. Yes, Leno's save to stop denying the hat trick was brilliant. Brilliant save.
Yeah. Class.
Yeah, he's going nowhere now, is it?
The teams are out for Palace, Brighton. You'll be
Okay.
glad to know that all the regulars are there. Martin Kelly is playing, as is Ayew, as is Wilf Zaha. But Benteke is on the pitch alongside Jordan Ayew. So they've got 3 up front: MacArthur,
interesting.
Milivojevic, and Kouyaté in the middle. Riedewald, Kelly, Dan, and Tompkins.
I'm not sure if that will be Kelly or Riedewald at left back. He's ropey, he is. Dutch fella. I think Frank de Boer bought him and he's never had a run at all.
No.
Brighton look as we'd have anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, they're Webster, Duncan, Byrne, and then Montoya, Bissouma, Moy, Proper.
Any sign of Connolly? Is he on the bench?
He is not.
No, we revealed that on the People's Poll, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
He might have been out on the lash. Sam didn't say if he was drinking, in fairness, but he said that he saw him out and about.
Yeah, I need to make a decision now on whether or not I'm going to move from Ederson to Guaita in my Sky Fantasy Football team, or whether I'm going to be moving from Tamori to Martin Kelly. And the truth is, it's going to be Tamori to Martin Kelly.
I was going to go Lewis Dunk, but I'm going to have to quickly rethink that because I need to try and work out what Palace are doing system there wise there. Is it a diamond? Give Zaha a free roll maybe?
Could possibly be in the hole behind Ayew and
Ayew can play wide either side. It's an interesting one.
Wilf Zaha does most of his damage coming in off the left.
Seems a strange one for Benteke to play because they're a unit, Brian, with like Dunk, Webster, Byrne. Probably not the sort of fixture you're going to get the benefit out of it. Maybe just thinks that it's going to be they hate each other. Nobody knows why. Be a hostile game, maybe. Maybe just thinks like a bit more direct. All right, let's do some Twitter cues.
Shall we? Yeah. People want to know all sorts of stuff, so they ask us questions on Twitter. Let's start with Big Geezer Ron Weasley, because he went to the added effort of giving me a question, as he does. And good to see you on the weekend, Tom. Right, which of these scenarios would you most rather be in? You got to pick one of these to be in.
You got you really a tattoo yet, Ron?
Having to drive round to Duncan Ferguson's house to ask for an explanation for being subbed off after 18 minutes on the pitch. A scrap would be imminent. So yeah, you're having a fight with Duncan Ferguson. You accidentally follow through at the FPL Christmas meetup.
Anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't even know if that might not have. You wake up in an alternative universe and you're a gooner. You ain't going to pick that one. Or shaking hands with Joachim Low on the touchline. They're not scratching again.
I take my chances that he hasn't done it, right? And shake his hand.
Yeah.
I'd go around for a chat with Dunk. He ain't going to fight me, is he? I'm a midget.
I
mean, compared to Mars, I'm a giant, but I'm quite a small lad. I'd go around Big Dunk's house for a chat.
I think I'm going to pick option 1 as well. I'm not shaking hands with Joachim Low.
He's probably got some brew around there as well, hasn't he?
To be fair, I'd maybe take Joachim Low. I might wear some gloves on that day, some nice
boxing gloves,
leather gloves, and Manchild's driving gloves. If anybody was at the FPL meetup, you'll know now that Manchild's the only man I know who insists on wearing driving gloves
to bed
to wherever he goes. So that's Manchild for you. Should we put up some Twitter questions?
Yeah, go on.
How do you feel with no Chelsea right now? Happy?
Yeah, absolutely fine. I'm quite liable to go into that Spurs Chelsea game with no assets from either.
Yeah. Adam35 who are molding in the Emirates Stadium, who says that Arteta is imminently signing a contract potentially there. How long do you persist with players who are doing fine? Example, I want to move Maddison on for a more aggressive move like Ali. I can see James's mind ticking along there. I don't think that's a good move necessarily. Where it depends what price you've bought certain players at, obviously as well.
Yes.
But for me, consistency. If you could give me a team of 11 players where where they perform 2 out of 3, if I got a return 2 out of 3 for any player, they're not going anywhere, and that's the bare minimum. I think I want to set my team up with 6, 7, and maybe even 8 players that are 2 out of 3 or 2 out of 4, and then have 2 or 3 more maverick potential players that can be explosive and get double-digit returns.
I'm not against it. Like as I said earlier this morning, I think I want to buy a Spurs asset specifically for this weekend.
Yeah,
I think Dele. His record historically against Chelsea, I think he'll play higher. Spurs should have said, and I will do it more detailed tomorrow. Spurs play a different system yesterday. Spurs played 4-3-3 and then changed essentially after Wolves equalised in an effort to try and win the game or lose the game and not draw the game, basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I don't hate the move because, you want to feel like you right time value wise for Maddison. I think I'd be holding. I don't think there's enough fear in, even though it's City Liverpool. I don't think there's enough fear.
Yeah.
I wouldn't look at Vardy in those two games. Little bit. It's easy for me to say got a million built up in Jamie Vardy. I'm obviously not selling, but injury or serious loss of form, which I can't see. But I think I'd be holding. Leicester ain't going to blank twice in these two games, and Maddison is next most likely after Vardy.
Hit Morpheus Fire, who we found out at the meetups, on his way to Denmark, and you've got Callum Bell 14 underscore. Both of them have got an interesting question around one of the players that you didn't mention in your Tottenham kind of wrap up, and a lot of people don't listen to Tottenham because they think they don't support those two clubs. Less interesting. Lucas Moura. Morpheus says, how long to persevere with Zaha until upgrading to Lucas Moura? And Callum Wilson just says, what are your thoughts on Lucas Moura? He's been playing, firstly, which sounds a dumb thing to say, but he wasn't getting regular, consistent starts and minutes prior to Jose Mourinho. And Jose's been playing him. And I think the feeling is that he's nailed on.
Jose will keep playing him at the moment. Yeah. It's a decent shout. He hasn't got the
power.
Like him? He hasn't got the power of probably double-digit returns in the way a Son or an Ali might do. But he's shown he's capable, right? Amsterdam, etc.
Yeah.
I love him. He works hard. I think technically he lets himself down sometimes. I think he should score more goals than what he does. I think he in himself is much more comfortable in a wide position rather than being our OP up front. A lot of time for Lucas. Love him. He was certainly better than Son yesterday. Son, not for the first time, did not turn up in a fixture where it got wet and cold away from home.
Yeah.
And the opposition wanted to have a fight, right? It became that sort of game. I'm not saying Wolves were over aggressive because Spurs probably were, in fairness. But it became quite an aggressive game. Son disappears in these games. I was surprised he stayed on the pitch as long as he did.
Really?
But that's the flip side of that, is that's positive.
Because you think he'll come back fighting?
Well, I just think that Mourinho sees the importance of him, particularly on the counter-attack, and with the amount of ball that Wolves were unusually having, I think he thought, we can get him. And there were a couple of instances where we could have got him away. And I think it's his importance to the team knowing what he is capable of that he stayed on. I would have taken him off about half hour to go. Completely ineffectual.
With Christmas around the corner, this is coming from Nick Khan.
But the fixtures coming up are much more to his benefit.
Son?
Yes.
Yeah. Nick Khan, with Christmas around the corner and FPL being about halfway over, which players would you put on your mid-season naughty and nice list? Where everybody that plays for West Ham's on the naughty list. Declan Rice and Robert Snodgrass and that are probably getting away with not being on the naughty list, nor is Antonio. But they are nice list. I mean, Vardy's got to be up there, isn't he? He's given me so many captaincy returns in a row. And I haven't had that many consistent captaincy returns, I think, ever in my FPL career.
I'm just going to have a look at my transfer history and look for the worst buyer now.
Mine's at the start of the season, Danny Drinkwater.
Luca Dean didn't work out too good for me, or others.
5. I'm just looking here. Jamie Vardy, 6 captaincy returns in a row he's given me. I don't think I haven't moved the armband.
Essentially, anybody I bought from Man City has been an issue.
Kevin De Bruyne? You can't hate on that guy.
Did I buy him?
Oh,
I actually did. Game week 4,
yeah.
Except KDB, obviously.
Callum Wilson, after I had him after his initial run of 8 was bad. When I got him back in on my wild card, that was a bit of a disappointment as well. But I won't be making that mistake again for a little while.
What, like me taking out 2 Man City players before they're playing Arsenal?
I need to speak to...
I've done the right thing, man. I couldn't leave Mendy in any longer. It was ridiculous, mate.
I need to speak to Mark, General, because I need to figure out who hates Callum Wilson more, me or him. I definitely know it's him.
Definitely.
He doesn't like him. But
I mean, I met Mark Friday night. I knew absolutely not to bring Callum Wilson up.
FPL_Bailey. Shall I captain John Lundstrom this weekend?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, fuck it. You know what? If there's ever a week to just go for it, you may as well, right? Because something mad's going to happen this weekend.
I think if you hit 50, it will be a very good week this week. I know there'll be.
I don't agree with you there. I think there'll be some bigger scores than that.
And of course, there will be, but I think 50 this week might be a good score. I think there'll be some disasters out there this week.
What are your views on Dominic?
Most of them will be people free hitting.
This question is coming in from FPL Bus, and they're saying, is Calvert-Lewin a long-term cheap option as a forward? He's still a little expensive at 5.7. He's your touching distance of your Chris Woods of the world, but he's considerably more than maybe.
I had a long look at DCL in the summer, and I always maintain and always think that Everton are a better side when he plays.
Yeah.
However, the season has unfolded to such an extent with people like Jimenez, Abraham, Rashford's 9 now. People like Callum Wilson are going to come back 7.4. I'd argue at the moment you got Jota and King at similar prices would be better choices.
Yeah,
there's so many, and the Burnley boys, there's so many good assets at slightly more. Yeah, I wouldn't go near that.
And Richard Barnes, he's asking about the Christmas period and the New Year period. Excuse me. Do you feel that a strong bench is essential for the Christmas and New Year period? 100%.
It's helpful.
It does. I mean, he's asking who are the top picks are. Well, you know what I'm surprised by here? Rico's ownership is low. It's only at 15%. Yeah. I thought it was much higher than
one of the reasons that convinced me to go as well.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Martin Kelly, and Martin Kelly's at 30%. It's double the ownership of Diogo Rico.
He'll get a lot of buys this week, Rico.
I think there's plenty others. Campbell at 4.7 definitely can fill your bench. Mousse at 5.1 can definitely fill your bench.
I'm kind of thinking like Cantwell. I'm getting back up to 4.8. Might be a good time to cut my 0.1 loss on the bastard. Yeah, get rid.
Look, let him prop up your bench, or he's even going to be in your team this week.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. It's actually a good point on Cantwell because his ownership's still half decent.
Yeah,
he will be in a lot of teams this week. But I would expect Wolves to go there and win. But Wolves do get sloppy in these fixtures.
They can do sometimes.
But when I was talking to Bradley yesterday, I said one of the things with Norwich is like games that struggled last year, like Huddersfield, Cardiff, even Fulham, particularly away, I think, earlier in the season. Or maybe it was sort of Christmas time, wasn't it? They drew at Craven Cottage. Really struggled with those sides that ended up going down last year. But particularly in the case of Cardiff, Huddersfield, I think they got 3 points. So they lost home and away to Huddersfield, didn't they?
Yeah.
Kind of real defensive they struggle with. Norwich ain't really going to be like that, but that's another reason I think. Please, Norwich, play 2 old and mature players at the weekend. I think, it's home game. We'll go back to 1. Play 2.
Let's have a look at the feedback on the live stream before we wrap up this show, because we need to get home in time for the game.
No, we don't. I've taped it.
Oh, you've put it on. You've got a red button. You see, I don't have a red button. I've just got the.
Reaction like you ain't got money for.
No, I've got Now TV. I haven't got fucking Sky.
I don't know why you're such a cheapskate. I've got nothing other than my telly and my wife and my child and my season ticket and beer
and Sky TV.
I don't know why I'm drinking tonight. Like I ain't been drunk enough in the last week.
Yeah. Has Arteta been confirmed as Arsenal manager? No, but he has had meetings. He has had meetings there.
Yeah, we think it's done.
I think it'll be an all right move for them. Give him some kind of stability at least. I think they'll be able to rally around him. He's younger than me. He's only a year older than you, and he's a couple of years younger than me. 37 years old.
He's a bloody good footballer. Very underrated.
Yes, his best years obviously at Everton, in my opinion.
Well, I think the first few years
at Arsenal was decent as well.
For Arsenal, in fairness.
There aren't many other interesting Twitter questions, James.
Because fire some shit.
How many times do you want me to ask you whether or not you're going to be selling Tammy Abraham, or whether you think we should be selling Tammy Abraham?
No, I probably wouldn't. I actually wouldn't. I wouldn't take many gambles this week, thinking about it more and more. I don't see where there's massive gains this week. I might leave that 5 million in the bank, mate.
Yep.
Which feels mad. But then if I go, you can say, oh, yeah, go Dale Stevens to Ali, -4. Yeah, it looks fucking obvious, doesn't it? Then I might wildcard Saturday. And if Ali doesn't get me like 6 points.
What's the point?
He has to score. He has to score for me to be worth it, basically.
Yep. Van Dijk's to watch out for. We'll get the last question on the show. I'd like to hear why you're waiting a week to wildcard rather than getting it done now. The fixture turn does seem better next week, but there's a lot of points to be gained this week. Grealish, Rashford, so on and so on and so on and so on. Is it a case that they're not players that you want to hold long term? The ones that you would wildcard this week, you wouldn't necessarily hold because even longer than that.
Like Rashford will probably come through once I decide to do it. Rico's another one. I think, yeah, I'm just going to go Rico, Kelly, Lundstrom now, Trent, Robertson.
Yeah,
I'll get Robbo back in. I don't care. I'll do it. I'll bin Chilwell. I'm not bothered. I know that they're just too much of a threat, the Liverpool guys. There's been 2 clean sheets in a row. We said they'll never. As soon as we said they'll never keep another one, I've had 2 in a row, 3 if you include the Champions League.
Who said they would never keep another one?
We did. After the Everton game, we went, that's it, forget it. They'll never keep another clean sheet.
I think what we actually said was
that's what we're going to say again. They're never going to keep another clean sheet, Liverpool.
We had a question around the lowest number of clean sheets ever kept to win the league, 13 or something in Man City, and Liverpool need to keep 10 more between now and the end of the season. Well, they kept 2 of those.
Yeah.
So there's definitely more Liverpool clean sheets on the way. So this guy, who is the chief contract negotiator at Arsenal, was pictured at 1 a.m. leaving Arteta's house. So they just
do you know what I don't understand about Arsenal, really? Right?
Yeah.
Nicolas says he's a bit shady, right? So Arteta was in London yesterday.
Yep.
And they've gone back with him to his house in Manchester.
So. Yeah. Arteta flew back after the game, and they flew back after the game as well.
Go to a fucking hotel in Mayfair or something. Like, what's going on?
I have no idea. Maybe Arteta didn't want to ruffle things with the team and not travel back on the team bus or team plane or whatever they have. But yeah.
One thing not getting spoken about, obviously, if that does happen with Arteta, is the potential impact on City.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what an influence he is or he isn't.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't speak a lot in the media, does he? So you don't really get to see his influence from that kind of point of view.
No, and I don't imagine Guardiola's the sort of guy who goes, I'm going to put my feet up today, you take training. I don't see that. No. But you never know, do you? It could be destabilising as well. It's just another thing that makes me think Liverpool got this league won, in honesty.
Twitter's blowing up about Benteke right now as well. 3 goals in 3 seasons. Why is he starting against Brighton?
Hat-trick incoming.
Well, maybe, yeah. If he trebles his haul from the last 3 seasons, then fair play. But yeah, I don't think Duncan.
Were the Twitter questions that bad?
Yeah, they're repetitive. People want to know about Chelsea.
What do you want to know about them? I think.
Are the wheels coming off the bus?
Were they ever on? Was it ever right defensively? I think Kepa's had a shocking season.
Yeah,
I've told you about the problem we've got in the centre-back positions. Reece James is a top talent, but it now means Azpilicueta seems to be playing left-back because Emerson and Alonso are both useless defensively.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be stronger for, I think, Kante, Jorginho and Kovacic are all playing at the weekend. And I think they'll go Willian on the right, and I think they'll play, actually Mount will play probably inside to outside leftish of a front 3. And Abraham up front. They'll be stronger for that.
Yeah. There's some bad things about to happen as well in FPL. Leroy Sané has just tweeted that he's done his first training session on the pitch.
Oh, wow.
He's coming straight into my team. How much do I have to pay for him now?
So Man City are winning this league after all.
Well, look, he's a damager, is Leroy Sané. So I'm not saying nothing, but yeah. If he's got his boots back on, then it's going to be not long. But he's only 9.5 million, give or take.
You'd have to see him play, unfortunately. And there'll be plenty of roads. It was interesting. One of the things we didn't speak about was about obviously Foden playing yesterday.
Yeah,
which is pleasing to see.
Yeah,
but obviously little change of. We didn't talk too much about City's system in this 4-2-3-1 because it was more about kind of exposing Arsenal. I do think they'll stay. I think there's been a movement towards it anyway. And I think he hasn't found that balance with the midfield too. And to be honest, you can't really judge off Arsenal if he has with Gundogan and Rodri there.
Yeah.
If he has got that balance, whether it's better with Fernandinho and Otamendi, Was it just that fixture? I mean, what could Vardy do to Otamendi and Fernandinho, really, when you think about it?
Yeah, damage. Real damage. Let's end on one other final thought, James, because we've talked about Arteta, but we haven't talked about this. TalkSport tweeting, Ancelotti is to be confirmed as the new Everton manager. Come from nowhere. They had that Pereira and Jovic and stuff.
We started, that the talks were on. Yeah. Well, it came from nowhere because obviously Napoli sacked him last week.
Yeah. And they've gone in very quickly. They did have other people that they were talking to and interviewing, but obviously they've moved very quickly for him.
I think that's a great appointment for Everton.
Yeah.
However, I do smell a little bit of the Pellegrini about it.
Yeah, what, too short term?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have moved away from Duncan Ferguson, if I'm honest with you. I mean, does Duncan Ferguson have desire to want to be a manager?
Oh, of course he would, yeah.
Yeah, so then I think it's too early to, whilst he's winning, why rush?
The manager's job on the basis of design.
No, but why rush? I think just leave it be and let it tick forward another week and another week and another week. It's not like Freddie Ljungberg's come in and they've only won 1 in 5 or whatever it is since he took over. 1 in 5 or 1 in 8? They've won 1 in 5 since he's taken over, including Europa League. Ferguson's done all right. Just keep rolling it, ticking it, and then decide what happens in January rather than rushing.
I can think from Everton's perspective, a top manager has become available and everyone, and he's obviously interested to do it. I don't think it's a bad appointment. I do feel, a little bit like Pellegrini. I'm not sure it's long term. And with respect to Everton, because they are a big club, it's not many times you'd come into a job where team's 16th in the league.
No.
I'm not saying they're not going to go down. There's no danger of that. They might even have such a good run that it's top half. He's going to be working with a quality of footballer that's far inferior to what he's used to. That's also a different challenge.
Indeed. Patrick is pointing out it was United that kept 13 clean sheets. You're quite right. It was a slip of the tongue getting my Manchester clubs mixed.
We generally do slip our tongues quite a lot.
Yeah. There we go.
Carry on.
It's not as bad as your comment on Friday night. And anybody that wants to know that will have to come to the next live show.
Oh, yeah. What was that when he was
Do you remember? You don't remember. No, okay, this is an added bonus. Anybody that's listened to 1 hour 25 deserves that. You remember we were talking to Sam from FPL Family.
Whoa.
No. This is clean.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
And she was talking to you about, she's going on a
she's
Spurs
going on
podcast.
The extra inch. Yeah, she was going
exactly. On. And your response was, I love that. I also love the cock.
Oh, I did say that to Sam.
So what James is actually referring to is the podcast,
cock.
The Fighting Cock.
Yeah, but I just said straight to Sam, I love the cock.
Yes, exactly that. And I think I wish I had a mic with us at that moment in time. That was a good moment. And that's a reason to turn up to the meetups and the live shows if you can make it at any time.
Lee and Sam, just two of the brilliant people we were chatting to on Friday night.
Yes. James, why don't you tell our listeners and the handful of people that are still on the live stream what we've got the rest of this week?
Tottenham tomorrow.
Correct.
I'm going to talk about my rage with Spurs because, listen, I went home very happy last night, but I'm not happy with the direction this is going. And it might not be Mourinho's fault, actually. We're going to talk about that a lot tomorrow. We won't talk about yours so much tomorrow because you won and it's boring when you do. And also, you ain't playing this weekend.
That is true. We've got a bit of time off.
Sky.
Yes.
We're in a very, very interesting period at the moment. And this weekend's awkward as well.
Yeah.
Thursday, I think what will be a really, really good clash of the correspondence with Sam and Tomo, our Brighton and Sheffield United correspondents, FPL Seagull and FPL Blade. Final plan Friday. And I think there's a lot to decide Friday. A lot to decide. If I can make one recommendation now, unless you got something obvious that you know you definitely want to do, like I did with Rico.
Yeah.
Wait this week out. Worth noting as well, obviously no champs and that this week and Ropey League. But like Leicester might play quite a strong team at Everton, for example, in the League Cup. Everton might play quite a strong team as well. City, Liverpool, we know won't. United probably won't so much. But Everton, Leicester might play quite a strong team at Everton. So worth waiting to the other side, I think.
Keeping an eye on for sure. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Planet FPL. Please do share the podcast with any of your FPL playing friends and family. like the podcast or hit subscribe or notifications. You can even do a thumbs down if you didn't like it, but
why would you do that?
Yeah, why would you do that?
Why would you tell someone to do that?
Oh, no, I'm just asking for honest feedback and honest support from the crew.
Boo, you were shit.
Yes. Good night, Patrick, who's just said good night, lads.
Thanks to the streamers. Thanks to the audio listeners. Thanks for the continued support. Thank you to all the kind things that people said Friday night, which was ridiculous. A special thank you to Richard Orford. He said some nice things, which was nice.
Yeah, the beer talks, didn't it?
Shit. I only know that I'm saying that to Richard because he said he listens to every one. So if you don't say to me, thanks, James, I know he was fucking lying.
Ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child.
There's no man child.
Oh, cue music, Suj.
There we go. Thank you on the stream. Appreciate that. If you have been on the stream, really do.
How much of football tonight? I've got 3 Palace assets, so you already